Good morning, and very good morning. Welcome to the show. Welcome to VUEGRAPHY. Well, today's video is a viewer request video. Yep, I got a request from one of our channel subscriber, and that person has specifically asked me or requested me to make a dedicated video about the legend, the myth, the all-time great camera made by Nikon D700. Yes. So today I'm going to share with you just whole soul everything about D700. Let's get started. D700 was released in July 2008, announced in July 2008, and it was announced as a mini D3. All the specs of D3. D3 was the big thing at that time in 2007 and 8. It was the flagship camera by Nikon, the first full frame camera, and it has everything what photographers was looking for. 9 frames per second, 12 megapixel, ISO up to 6400, and blah blah blah. Like robust body, a lot of things. Perfect, almost perfect in every way. Of course, this was not meant for sports action channel, sports action wildlife, because that's where we have different type of cameras that we look upon. But overall, D3 was the big thing. But it was very expensive. It was nearly around $6,000. So people and all the professionals who cannot afford D3, they were looking for some kind of alternative, and they were thinking we wish to have D3, but in a much more affordable way. That's where Nikon released D700. D700 carries the same sensor of D3, but with different SNR firmware, which renders the image differently. Also, the D700 contains a special Babar filter array, color filter array, which is called Babar filter. Color filter array CFA, also called CFA. So D700 contains a special CFA, which makes the D700 colors the best in the business. Like, if you really want true to life colors out from the camera, and you don't have to do anything in post-processing, like not too much hectic, just shoot and post. That's where D700 shines big time. Till now, D700 is still the top camera in the world which make the great true to life color images right off the box. The second best camera, D850. But D850 is latest generation. We're talking about 14-year-old technology. Technology evolved over the period of time. We all know that the old 10, 12, 14, 16-year-old technology was different. Cameras were limited when it comes to specs and all that. But still, D700 shines till now, as I'm making this video in September 2022. Yep. We are in September 2022, and I'm making a dedicated video of D700. So what's the big deal about D700? Why people still drooling for that camera? Well, it's not a high ISO machine. The maximum ISO of this camera is 6400. That's it. 51 autofocus point. There was no IAF. Only 5 frames per second. With battery grip, which I'm going to show you in a minute. With battery grip, it's going to the high frames per second boost from 5 frames per second to 8 frames per second. Yep, using the battery grip, you can boost the frames per second of D700. But that's not the case. That's not we are talking. We are talking about the legend, the D700. I just make a video about my experience with all the Nikon DSLRs, and I mentioned specifically about it quite long about the D700, and in that video, I mentioned why I love D700. Of course, number one, image quality right off the box. The robustness, built like a tank, 12 megapixel, very good for low light. The colors, and there is a long list. Even it basically connects you. To be very honest, I'm going to be very honest with you. If I would be a mirrorless shooter, I wouldn't be a very good photographer. Nikon D700 made me a good photographer. Nikon D700 made me to operate the camera efficiently. Yep, D700 made me to work on the machine, to learn the machine. If I would be a mirrorless shooter, I wouldn't be knowing much about the machine, because I know these mirrorless camera can do everything for me. I don't have to worry about that. But D700 pushed me to learn about the camera, how camera works, how I have to, where the camera limits its, according to its specs, and from that's where I have to start pushing the camera, operate it more than what it is capable of. That's where I learned. That's where I learned, because there is nothing in the D700 much about when it comes to technology, when it comes to features. It's the simple camera. Just one simple camera. There is no video in it. It's only a one single card slot. There is no second card slot to have the backup, which I still wish D700 would have, but there is no Bluetooth, no Wi-Fi. You can only do tether shooting by connecting to the USB port. That's it. You connect the D700 using the USB, standard USB old port with your laptop. Open the Lightroom. Lightroom detects the D700 just like that, and you just shooting, and you will see the screen on your laptop right away. Of course, you need a very long USB cable, which I arranged for specifically for D700. I arranged for 5 meters. 5 meters. No, 3 meters? 5 meters, something like that. So I arranged a very long cable for D700 USB cable. And it is just amazing. See, D700 really makes you connect with the real pleasure of photography. There is no high AF. There is no auto detect. Of course, it has 3D tracking and 51 autofocus points, which you can switch from the back of the camera. Let me show you. Yep, the legend D700. That's the lovely D700 is. Okay, so you can change single autofocus, 9, the group autofocus points, which is 9 autofocus cluster, 21 autofocus cluster, 51 autofocus cluster, only by switching from there. Yeah, this switch only makes quickly change from this is single iron point autofocus, this is multi, and this is full 51. So that's where you can change it. How to change between manual focus, continuous single point autofocus, or continuous, also called servo in other language. That's where there is a lever over here. So you change this lever and you can change from manual focus to single point autofocus and continuous. So actually with two-hand operation, like from here and from here, you can just change the whole autofocus system in a minute, not in a minute, in a second. Whereas in the mirrorless cameras, you have to press and then you have to rotate till you have to select. By the time you're done with it, maybe you miss the shot. With D700, there is nothing like that. It's just simply 2 buttons. Your muscle memory tells you, okay, tuck, 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 done. Change the autofocus in a matter of second. Literally a second. the best thing about D700, which I really love, which I'm missing into these new mirrorless cameras, everything, every function, white balance, image quality, like changing from raw file to JPEG, and ISO, or you have to dial a single frame or multiple frames, mirror lockup, live view, changing the autofocus point, everything. There's a dedicated button, like literally playback button, and zooming in and zooming out, everything got a dedicated button. From the top, there's white balance, ISO, and image quality right over here, right over here. Same over dial, using this dial over here. You can change from single point, from single frames per second to multiple frames per second, and the live view and the quiet mode, everything is there in the dial. And of course the AF on button, the auto exposure lock and AF on, and zooming, playback, menu button, all there. Protective, this LCD protection comes with the camera. So these things make this camera a true pleasure to work, because you have to just get yourself used to with the buttons, and once you get used to, there is no turning back. You just like tuck tuck tuck, done, tuck tuck tuck, changing the second on the fly, tuck tuck tuck. That's how it is. So D700 made me a better photographer, because it pushes me to learn more about the camera, how to operate in a different scenario. Like for example, if you want to shoot Milky Way, all right, how to shoot Milky Way. Okay, well, of course you have to put the camera in tripod. There is an electronic leveler in it. You can customize one of the function button from the front to enable it. So you just press that function button, and the inside of the viewfinder you get the level. So the camera is like tilting like left or right, towards right or left, like this. You can do that. Yeah, I'm talking about 14-year-old technology. Pop-up flash. That pop-up flash I used so much in the beginning when I got my D700, that I used to use this pop-up flash as a commander pulse flash to fire the remote flashes, and I used it so much. It can trigger 2 groups, and in each group you can put 1 flash or you can put 100 flash, all going to fire, as long as all those remote flashes picking up the commander pulse from this tiny little thing. So that commander pulse is so important, that pop-up flash, that I don't need radio triggers to fire the remote flashes. I just use this, and I can easily shoot 2 groups, either in minimum 2 flashes or 1 flash, all the way up to 100 flash. I can do that just using this tiny little pop-up flash. It got 2 function button. I usually configure 1 function button, the top one, this top one function button for my custom menu. I just press this button and my customize menu comes, which I can have my selected options to change. The second is I configured for level. So I just press this button, and it shows me the camera is tilted or not. So I did that. Besides, by the way, the camera doesn't come with magnified eyepiece. I put this is a magnified eyepiece. This is something special. The camera doesn't come with that. This is a special eyepiece which you put it on, it gives you 1.3 magnification factor. And normally this is a special round piece. All the professional grade Nikon DSLR, they comes with round eyepiece. If the camera is with round eyepiece, it means that it's professional grade. If it's square, it's not professional. It's more kind of a prosumer or consumer grade kind of a camera. Especially that's why the D750, D610, D600, all right, D7200, D7100, D7000, D5000 series, D3000 series, all of them having square eyepiece. But D800 series, D810, D850, D500, D3, D3S, D4, D4S, D5, D6, all of them including D700, all of them having this round eyepiece. So if you are having round eyepiece, it means that they are professional grade camera. Today I'm giving you the secret, nobody tells usually. So if you see a round eyepiece in any of the Nikon DSLR, it's a professional grade camera. If you see square eyepiece, it's not professional grade. So this eyepiece, it gives you 1.3 magnification factor. So in the viewfinder you see things big, more big. So I arranged that, this eyepiece. Alright, well, I'm just talking about the machine, but I'm telling you all about this machine because I have to tell you what this machine, capable of. Now let's talk about the battery grip, because battery grip, it's really important. It boosts not only the longer battery life, you can run the camera for weeks, literally weeks, 2-3 weeks, forget about that. Alright, and it boosts the frames per second from 5 to 8 frames per second. The battery grip is this. This is the battery grip, okay? This is standard battery grip. It's called MBT10, alright? MBT10 basically can carry this. This is the empty chamber. This carry not one, not two, in fact 3 types of batteries. 3 different type of batteries, and I'm going to show you one by one. And by putting those batteries, out of these 3 types, 2 of them will going to boost the frames per second from 5 to 8. One is not going to do it, and I'll show you the reason. But before that, let me show you. This is the standard battery, okay? Very small, this ENEL3, okay? That's the battery, and you just put it on, done, standard battery. And you can easily take over 1000 shots with this battery, okay? So in the battery, this is the battery grip, and this is the tray. This tray contains the same battery which I inserted into the camera, alright? This is the same battery. So if I'm going to insert this, close it, done. And all I'm going to do is going to put underneath the camera, tight it up. Okay. Then now this is it. Now the camera frames per second increased from 5 to 8? No, it's not increased, and this is specific configuration because it contains the same capacity battery which is already inside the camera. This battery is not sufficient. It's not sufficient. So, but you can, you have the increased battery life, and you can easily see 2 batteries over here. I'm not sure you can see that, but it's over here. It shows 2 batteries now. Alright, over here. So it contains 2 batteries, so you can run, for a couple of weeks easily without worrying about it. A week, depending how much frames you shoot. Alright, now you want more power. You need more frames per second. There are 2 ways to do that. First of all, you have to take out this battery. This tray is special. It only takes this dedicated battery which is inside the camera. Alright, this is a special dedicated tray. Okay. Alright, that's not it. There is another battery grip which contains not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, in fact 8 AA battery cell. And here it is. This is 8 AA battery cells. Simple rechargeable AA batteries. 8 of them. 4 are over here and 4 are underneath. This will boost. This is another special tray which comes when you buy the original MBD10 battery kit. Original this tray comes with the package. So you press this, insert this over here inside the camera. Now you can go up to 8 frames per second using these 8 AA batteries. That's not it. Now that I showed you 2, there is another one, 3. Third type of battery grip. Okay, the battery grip of D3, D3S, D4. This is that battery. This is that battery of D3, D3S or D4. Alright, it has a special charger, which is this. This is the special charger of this battery. Okay, so, and the problem using this battery is this: it requires special chamber. This is that special battery chamber. Alright, so basically you connect like this. Okay, so it now it equal to the length of these 8 battery tray. With this special battery grip chamber, you put this D3 D3S battery with this chamber into the same D700 battery grip. Now you can shoot 8 frames per second. So now I just showed you 3 battery grips, 3 tray of the battery grip in which you can insert 3 type of batteries. I don't know, have you seen any other camera which can take so many type of batteries? Let me know if you have seen any. So these are the 3 different types of batteries. The standard one which comes with the camera, the AA ones, this is the AA battery, 8 of them, and this is the D3 with the special chamber. So you can take these 3 batteries, these 3 weird batteries, and you can use them into the D700 and prolong the battery life. Out of these 3, only these 2 can boost from 5 frames per second to 8 frames per second. I hope you can see these 2. These 2 only can make 5 frames per second to 8 frames per second. This one, no, this one cannot. This is standard. This is going to extend the battery life, that's it. But it's not going to boost the signal, frames per second. So I just showed you these battery grips. By the way, this is the standard charger for the built-in camera battery which comes with the camera. Okay, and this is the big charger for the big battery. By the way, these things are not coming into the package of D700. You will get only this charger. Okay, because you are getting only single battery, which is this one. You're only getting this battery. By the way, these AA batteries, these are rechargeable. All right, that's so you must have the of course the charger for this type of battery if you are using it. But my experience using these 8 AA batteries, that it makes camera way too heavier, like really heavy. If you are using the D3 type, the D3S battery, it's less in weight in compared to these 8. So this is heavy, this is lightweight. So you have to go for this if the weight is your major concern. What else we have to talk about D700? Well, by the way, in D700 Yeah, there is a very famous feature from Canon that the dial, you can just scroll the menus using the dials. Well, you can do that in D700 as well. I configured my D700, and let me show you what I can do with this. You know, I'm not sure you can see this, but if I, do you see? I'm I'm just configure the dial using this, and using the sub command dial I can change that. I can do that in D700. So using the sub command dial and the main command dial at the back of the camera, I can go through the menu more efficiently. It just requires muscle memory. So you know how, where to rotate, which direction you have to rotate both dials in order to go through the menu. You can do that. Not many people knows about this feature. I'm surprised. I know that feature, so I'm using it all the time. The bottom line of D700 is this, that I love this camera so much that if I have to take portrait with some really specific feeling into the portrait, which brings that mood, which brings that personality, which brings that's that character of the person, that you don't have to edit much into the post processing, I just blindly go with D700. I don't care. The output of this camera is all what makes this camera still so special in September 2022 that people still want to buy that machine. There was a time I had not one but three D700 because I love this camera so much. My D700 is over there. This is another D700 which was given to me. I need to sell this one. But this video is not about selling. This video is all about D700. I just use this camera so much that in my Flickr account, most of my images, the highest images that I took from any camera is this D700. The maximum file size of the RAW with 14-bit uncompressed is 18 megabyte. That's it. 12 megapixel 14-bit uncompressed 18 MB, which is nothing. D850 uncompressed raw file 95-98 MB, nearly 100 MB. So which is like 5 times the size of this raw file. Like 5 raw file from D700, which makes 1 equal to 1 raw file of D850. That's an insane amount of data. Of course, we are talking about 45 megapixel, 12 megapixel. Less megapixel, less data to process. It means that less load on your computer. It means that less time you need to process. It means that less time you will have to export. That's why I love to shoot with 12 megapixel, because for me or for my work, the dynamic range, the color, the overall workflow, when I use this D700, it's so easy, it's so efficient that I don't have to worry about it. It makes my life so freaking easy. So easy. Man, even if I have to sell every camera that I own, I'm still going to keep D700. Period. Because I know that using D700, I can do almost, not every, almost all kind of photography. Yeah, its autofocus is not as agile as today's modern mirrorless camera. Of course, it's not that agile, but if you know how to operate a camera, again, it's coming to the same point. This camera made me such a good camera operator that I know how to handle any camera on the planet. Any camera. Even if I don't know how to do any other brand, how to operate any other brand in some kind of scenario, this camera taught me how to do it, because it doesn't contain all the features. So I had to push myself to learn, which I did. So I don't need the high autofocus in that, because I know 51 autofocus point quite is spread quite wide in the viewfinder. I can easily, move the autofocus point somewhere over here, here, or here, or here, or here, and it's still able to grab the shot. So D850 made me a better photographer. Not D850, sorry, D700. So D700 made me a better photographer. No, period, period. No question asked. I'm going to put some sample images in the end of the video and of my D700, which you go through. And I don't know what else I have to say about D700. This camera is legendary. The people call it legendary because so many people took so many great photos from this camera, which is still unparalleled. The quality, see, D700 is all about image quality. You use the same lens on the D850 and you use the same lens on D700, take the shot, you will find D700 output much more pleasing to the eye. Why is that? You use the same lens. Why is the D700 image looks more pleasing? You use any camera, any lens. Let's suppose we take Sigma lens. Okay, Sigma 85 1.4. You use the same, you just change the mount. You put those on Sony or Canon and use the same lens using the Nikon mount with over the D700. You take the shot, you look into the overall, you will find one hell of a difference in all three, and D700 is still going to top the rest of the competition if we are talking about taking the images right from the camera using a neutral lens, period. That's why I love this camera so damn much. I took so many great portraits. This camera is very valid for landscape. Of course, its dynamic range is not like D850, not like Z6, not like Z7 II, not like A7 R4, not like A7 R3. Of course, it's not. But we are talking about a general scenario. If you are taking a photo image out of the, like, your exposure is way out, like 2-3 stop underexposed or overexposed, and you think that by using the latest camera dynamic range you can adjust the exposure, then it's your fault. It's your fault because you are still relying on camera software to adjust the exposure in post-processing rather than take the image with the right exposure right from the camera. Again, I'm coming to the same point. This camera will make you a better photographer because it doesn't have those flexibility that modern camera have. A modern camera carries better dynamic range, high autofocus and all that. Now, this camera is going to teach you so many things in so many ways that you never learned in your life, period. And I learned so many things from this one single camera. Taking photos, taking those panning shots, taking landscapes with broader dynamic range. How to do it, I learned it from this camera. How to take HDR photos from this camera, because it's the color science of this camera, it's so freaking amazing that if you are having a very good garden, very good landscape with so many colors, how to take HDR format, I learned through this camera, because I know that I don't have to rely much on post processing. I can do this in one shot. There is an image overlay feature in that camera, which is really crazy. By the way, there is a question mark over here. I'm not sure you can see that. There's a question mark. So whatever the menu you select and you don't know what it does, you press that question button and there is a dictionary will pop up and it will tell you what that function is all about. Let me let me try to show you. I'm not sure I can do that or not. Okay, imagine I select this feature. I don't know what it does. So I'm going to press this button and it opens up the dictionary. See? So this is the menu and I press this button and it opens the dictionary. So it tells me what that function is. There's a built-in dictionary into the camera, which is 14 years old. Man, this camera is legend. Yeah, we have modern day cameras, mirrorless. We have modern day DSLRs. The last one was D850 or D780 or Canon 5D Mark IV or Sony A7 III. Well, those are all mirrorless. But again, let's compare that with the D700. The less feature you have in the camera, the better photographer you are going to be, and that's what D700 did to me. There are so many things still I'm just trying to grab those things which makes me the D700s a timeless camera. I told in my previous video there are 5 timeless cameras. Like, timeless means the more they are going to age, the better you will find them suitable for taking photos. These are timeless cameras. So those 5 cameras, first of all, D700, D3 or D3S, D850, okay, D500, okay, and D7200. So out of these 5, 2 are cropped, D500 and D7200, and the rest of the 3 was D700, D3, D3S, and D850. So these are 5 cameras which are timeless. 14-year-old, and still this camera is selling like hot cake on eBay, not less than $400, and this was the launching price. 2 days ago I found a page on internet which is still live after 14 years. That page still exists on internet, which was and that page was showing that the launching ceremony. It was the news that Nikon just announced the Mini D3, the price $2,999. D700 was launched $3,000 in July 2008. Right now you can get this camera cheap, around $350 to $500, depending on how many clicks, depending on the condition. The rough the camera, the less the price. The less shutter count, the maximum the price. There is one guy in UK, I know, that guy still have one D700 with 0 meter. 0 meter. Perhaps that's the only D700 on planet right now with 0 shutter count. I found one D700 with 127 shutter only. I was stunned. I just immediately bought it, even though the seller was switching. It was his father's camera, and he said it's only 127. I didn't believe it, but when I checked, it was 127 frames. The camera was brand new, but he was selling with the lens. I didn't need the lens, but I had to buy the lens, which I sold it later, and I gave that camera to my friend right now, because I believe my friend deserves more than me. That, and I bought that camera with all my heart and soul. My D700 is clocking around 21,000 frames right now. This one is 56,000 frames. On eBay you would still find some D700 around 10,000, 12,000, 20,000 frames. If it's around 2000 or 4000, it's very expensive. It's more expensive than $550 if you find 4000 or 5000 frames shutter count. So the price going high. By default it go high. That's how people crazy about D700. They're just hunting for D3, D3S and D700 that they get less shutter count, and they're willing to pay any price because they know these camera what they are capable of, what kind of magic they are going to produce using D700, D3 or D3S. They are willing to pay anything. So the overall nutshell of D700 is it's a pure photography camera. It gives you that pleasure, that feeling of taking images which you never had, which you never enjoy. It pushes you to take photos which you probably never did. And that's the reality. It gives you that output which makes you to go out taking this camera again and again and again, because the output from D700 is all what makes D700 the D700. Thank you for watching this video, and this is the user request video. I just tried to share my heart out about this machine, what I feel about it, and I'm sure you felt it. And I'll see you guys in some other video with some new other topic. Till then, take care. Bye.